So we're here at my favorite place. Brought the Paj to get inspected. We're in line, and this is part of the inspection process where, in case you guys have never seen any of the other videos that we did about it, we have to come to this place with all the vehicles that we bring into the country and have them VIN checked, make sure that everything's right. So it's a pretty useless process and it's a waste of taxpayer money, but at the same time, it's something that has to be done. So until some smart person goes into office and actually determines that this is a waste and a bullshit. But till then, we come here and we get this crap done. I went ahead and installed a couple of lights on the front of the Pajero. Figured I'd show you guys that while we're waiting. So I put these two KC lights on and this little LED bar that Dan gave me. It's all hooked up, it's pretty bright. Tested it out last night, and it just gives a lot of light, so a lot better. I also ordered a new alternator that's going to be on the way. This alternator is shot. I tried getting it to work. If I tap on it a lot, it starts charging, but obviously that's not going to cut it. So I ordered a new one, and the alternators for this engine, this is the 4D56T. They're not very common here, so I had to order one that hopefully doesn't take too long to get here. But when it gets here, I'm going to go ahead and replace that, and then hopefully that'll take care of the charging issues for the Pajero. I mean, I put a new battery in because the battery was dead when it got here, and this battery so far, even though the alternator doesn't charge, it hasn't lost much juice. It's lost maybe 0.2 of a volt. So far, I don't even, the person who had this in Japan probably didn't even replace the alternator because the battery lasts so long. Being a diesel, there's only one thing besides the lights that use power. It doesn't have AC, so that's not a problem. But the wipers would use, it hasn't been raining, and the winch is PTO, so that doesn't use any juice, and which is actually pretty cool. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the only part of the system that's going to use any power, being diesel, is this little solenoid for the pump. That's it. But that's pretty much all that's powered, and you know, with the battery being that big, it's going to last forever even if it's not charging. But the PTO winch is another cool feature on this. For those of you who don't know, the winch, most winches have an electric motor, and the electric motor is what powers the winch in and out. But with a PTO winch, you actually have a shaft that's running on this one, especially, that's running from this gearbox here down to the transfer case into the transmission. So with the transfer case in neutral, you actually use the forward gears of the transmission and reverse to drive the winch. So you have effectively 5 speeds plus reverse in the winch, and it's really cool. I tested it out already, everything works, so I'm really excited about that. And it's good because as long as the engine's running, you're never going to have to worry about getting stuck. And you know, it's submersible being PTO, so this thing's pretty rad. It's going to be able to go, I think, anywhere. Once I get that alternator fixed up, everything else, all the systems on this thing feel pretty good. Tires. So I'm going to be putting a set of 30s on this. I think 30 is about the maximum. If I tried a 31, it'd probably be too big. These tires that are on it right now are not factory. They are a little bit smaller, I think, than factory, because the speedo reads a little high. So I measured these out to like 27 inches tall. I think the factory is like 29 inches tall. So I'm going to go with a 30. That's going to give me a nice increase in height, and it's going to give the ability to go through some more terrain. And of course, I'm going to do some South Florida tires, which means sand, which means aggressive tread, and hopefully doesn't hurt too bad. Gas mileage, I'm cruising around, not that I really care with this thing. gas mileage so far has been around 25, 26 miles per gallon, and that's consistent cruising. Once I'm stop-start, it's usually about 20, maybe a little less. So it's not too bad gas mileage. Being diesel, you want some more, but can't expect much for this pig. Either way, that should get me where I want to be for now. I wanted to try and make a little more power with it, turn the boost up a little bit, crank the fuel on it a little bit. So we'll see what that does, but I think realistically I'm going to need to do an intercooler to allow that to be safe. So I might do that. I might try and find a small intercooler setup to mount on top of this, and dare I say, cut a hole in the hood to get a little airflow to it with a little scoop. So we'll see how that goes. Also do a fuel filter, try and find an air filter. I changed the oil, you guys saw that, and that's pretty much it. So we'll see how long it takes for these guys to finalize this inspection. Hopefully I'm not here too long, because I hate this place. I hate this place. I hate everything about it. But I love my Paj, and I want my Paj to be legal. So wish me luck. So I pulled out this cluster here, and this little attitude indicator is destroyed, so that's not working. The altimeter might work, I don't even know. I don't even care. This thing just looks cool. But regardless, there's a temperature probe or temperature gauge on here that shows like different temperatures, and it wasn't working. So I went ahead and pulled this apart, and I found a loose capacitor. So I went ahead and resoldered that in, and hopefully that fixes this thing. That'd be pretty cool. I also fixed the tack. So I want to get this, I think I fixed the tack, we'll see. I'm going to get this back on, get it all hooked back up, and then we'll see if everything's working. Fingers crossed. It'll be a lot better if those are working. So it'll just kind of make it look a little more original. Instead of the tack being down here flashing around, should work. All right, fingers crossed, let's see. Okay, so here we go. All right, so that's working. Showing the temperature now, inside and outside. Clock's working now, and let's see if the tack works. There we go. Perfect. All right, so we got those items working again. That's pretty cool. That's a huge win in my book, and it just makes one more thing functional on this old Paj. So next we'll just get the alternator, and when the alternator comes in, that will alleviate the problem there, and our whole charging system will be working, and we're getting somewhere with this thing. So excited about that. Off to do some more driving. So here it is, nighttime. You can see temperature is working good. All these gauges are working good. Tack is working good. And the alternator is actually charging right now, which is great. I ordered one, so of course it's going to start working. But I wanted to show you the lighting. So I got the headlights and then auxiliary lights. Boom! So these lights are really strong. You can see that's what we're working with now. It's daylight. So I'm really happy with these lights. They look solid. Now I just got to get my tires, and that'll do it. But the Paj is cranking. Listen to that diesel.